Yeah, just let it
Okay.
rip.
And
I'm ripping this.
we have it on the screen.
Oh, is there no signal?
Just like there was.
There was a signal. Just a moment ago.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, you got
We
it.
do that.
There we go. Yeah, just give me a minute here. So, I haven't eaten all day. I've been going since 5 o'clock. We're bargaining right now. We've got legal issues to address, in my other work. Literally, I haven't had a minute all day. So I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna open this, and have a chocolate. And
I had chocolate today.
Go ahead.
The only thing I had today is chocolate.
like, this is not a,
Go down and get a bowl of orange.
I could get you a sandwich. I could make you a sandwich.
Yeah, lots of food.
Elaine's got a beautiful dinner waiting for me when I get home. Yeah,
Midnight.
maybe, hopefully it's not tonight. Okay, so, help yourself. The refreshments here, it's really
Thanks,
good.
Andy.
The blueberry pomegranate. It's 0 calories. Oh, yeah, there's, you got, hold on, here. Yeah, okay.
I'm feeling the United States.
Hang on. There, okay, are these open?
We know and I ruined it.
That guy.
Like my daughter.
It's okay, it's like Christmas presents. You're allowed chocolates. Okay, so it's, so I want to start with, are we starting the meeting? I'm gonna call it-
Well, call over.
So Brian, call to order and then I'll do those things.
Okay.
And hang on, I just need a minute to, I'm good. Totally.
Just sit down and relax. How about
This
it's
combobulated today.
6:34, we start the meeting at 6:37.
Beautiful.
Okay, so we're,
We'll start the meeting now at 6:34.
okay, perfect, all right. So,
Yeah.
better rip.
Yeah.
So,
So I will acknowledge the respect to traditional and indigenous lands that we're holding this meeting on. Adoption of the agenda, this will be Andy and Kelly.
Yep.
And we see the minutes, everybody was happy with minutes and changes. No, we're at staff reports.
okay, so before we start, did you do the traditional?
Just did that.
Not quite word for word, but
So, just before we start, if it's okay, Chair, I just have a couple of things to say. So I just want to share, I didn't know how many people would be here today, but I did bring enough for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, for 32 people by one chocolate. Now I see there's 6 of us here, so basically 32
there's some people with five.
2 by 6, so basically you can do the math and help yourselves. I really like these chocolates. So please.
Big couple,
Yeah.
one.
They're all different. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're all, these are really classic candy. I own, I, yeah.
I need to say nice.
The thing is, this is me thanking all of you. And we're gonna have a dinner as well, which I will be hosting. And basically that'll be, before Christmas.
Yep,
And we have to figure out a date and we're invited. It won't be with partners, it'll just be with us. And we'll, pardon, and we'll figure out where, so we'll discuss that. If you can put that on the agenda, APHC dinner. That's one thing. And then if you could put on the agenda, did we already adopt the agenda?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh,
Okay, so we're gonna make an amendment then.
making an amendment, motion to amend the agenda.
Okay.
The other thing is like, I'd like to do a director's update. I want to bring the APHC up to speed on what's happening with their self-service in Bass Creek. And I want to talk about, I've got some other miscellaneous items, and then as they come up, you can note them. Is that okay?
Do you want to do that first, Andy, and then we'll go?
No, we'll do that after we finish.
After you do the
Yeah,
staff?
this would be, after, it would be item, what item? would it be?
Well, after item 5 at least.
Yeah. it'll be
Item
probably six.
Item 6. So it'll be item 6 and then, or could it be 5A? Or 5.2?
5.2, yeah.
Oh,
Although that's staff reports, though.
yeah, we can make.
You,
It will.
Yeah, they'll figure out.
so guys, please help yourself. I'm gonna, I'm sorry, I shouldn't take first. You guys got to take first.
No, thank you.
That's my
Take one.
for the dinner. And I just want to say, I've been going through some pretty heavy duty medicals. And today, doc cleared me for a month, going every week. So it just. Well,
Well, a month is good.
a month is
Yeah.
possible because we finally got the meds right. And I was just like 4 days of sleep, energizing money. This girl coming in meds, right? So this is awful. So I'm sorry
No, no,
for playing those two, but
okay.
it's like, we all go through this. And I'm writing them because people I know, doctors and emerge and going, what the heck's going on with us, man? We're falling apart. And Andy knows all about this because we all have in our families, like all of us, I'm sure what we're going through. So, we've had family stuff happening. There are all kinds of stuff. My apologies for the.
Andy, on a positive note, today I was in the,
Did someone pass the chocolates back?
I was at the Carpenter Hospital.
Yeah.
And, in the walking area, they're saying that on January sixth, there's going to be a new nurse practitioner joining
Where?
at the Castlegar Hospital.
In the UPCC?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a new one, yeah, so that's positive news.
Yeah, so I could do a position recruitment update, all kinds of stuff that you might be interested. Okay, so, Michelle? So, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, hey, Andy, you just tell me about this.
What? What's that?
Looking for a family doctor, nurse practitioner for the IHA.
Spend $50,000 a year with me. Okay, so, Chair, I'm sorry,
No problem.
back on track.
So we'll go to back to 5 though. We get staff reports.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we just stop just for a second here, like, under the receipt of the minutes? It's sort of kind of like the old business and stuff like that. Andy,
Any questions?
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, so I think that should go first.
Yeah.
So we were kind of talking before the meeting started here. Do you have any updates as to what happened to that previous rezoning application?
Yeah, the.
Ben Gordon.
Ben Gordon, yeah, yes, I do. It was pulled,
It was pulled,
Yes.
like it's a withdrawal,
Yeah.
or is it a stay?
withdrawn.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Scott, you want to take a chance?
Yes, in my office. this
Well,
one.
you've been up there.
Okay,
It's been up for a
Great.
while.
It's not your
Director
problem.
David,
Every time you show
coming
up,
up to
someone
work.
gets on top of you.
I'm gonna be better after that taste is good.
so, as you can see, I've got a presentation on the screen. Should last about 15 minutes, and a lot of it will be an overview for the APHC, and it's the same presentation that went before the earlier Rural Affairs Committee meeting. And then I'm happy to answer any questions that people might have, but really, I'll just dive into it. Okay, so in my presentation, I'm going to be touching on where we've been on this project's journey to date, and you all have been a big part of that. The mandatory and optional content for official community plans. As we all know, we just refer to it as OCPs. What's new and different about this OCP? I'll provide just an overview of all the engagement opportunities we've had throughout the project. And then I'm going to wrap up with some information on implementation and next steps. So here we are
Here we
at the
go.
Brilliant Cultural Center. So I'm just going to dive into a little background and just provide everyone here at the APHC meeting and online some additional context about the project. So this slide really touches on where we have been. As a reminder, you all know the existing Kootenay-Columbia Rivers OCP, which also includes Area I and Area J, was adopted in 1996. And embarrassingly enough, I mentioned in also a public meeting that that's the same year I graduated high school. So the existing official community plan is an older document and just like myself, in need of a little refresh. The Area I OCP review project originally launched in 2016, and past work included community surveys that happened that year, a series of community workshops in 2017, and then, as we all know, there was a pause in response to feedback, so we could undertake further studies. And examples of those would be the drastic aquifer vulnerability study for the Shore Acres Lincoln subdivision area, just as an example. Then we had the pause on the project due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And then in summer of 2022, planning staff drafted an updated work plan, which received endorsement by the board in the fall of 2022. And we relaunched the project to the community with a virtual open house in January 2023. So when the OCP was relaunched, planning staff put together a revised work plan and a revised engagement plan. And as the APHC knows, we're currently in phase 4, which is to finalize and implement. So we're actively in that phase. And then throughout the process, phase 1 through to 4, each phase is also included community engagement opportunities, which I'll speak to in a bit more detail later in the presentation. So as we dive into what's new in the official community plan, I really just wanted to provide a brief overview about the plan's layout, that it's been divided into 6 parts for ease of use. So part 1 speaks to the purpose of the plan, the scope, relationship to other plans and policies, and how we engage the community, our public engagement. Part 2 includes the history of the area, important statistics, and an analysis of current land use. Part 3 presents community vision and broad goals, which are really the guiding principles of the OCP. Part 4 sets out the objectives and policies of the plan, and they're organized into 10 different land use themes intended to help guide our decision makers in relation to development and land use in Area I, the Central Mountain area, over the next 25 years. And part 5 includes policies for how to manage growth, future land use designations, and then policies related to specific communities. And then part 6 speaks to tools that are used to help implement the OCP, such as development commitments and certificates. So this slide talks about required content for official community plans. Under the Local Government Act, OCPs must include statements on the approximate location, amount, type, and density of residential development. And that's in order to meet anticipated housing needs over a period of at least 5 years. Approximate location, amount, and type of present and proposed commercial, industrial, institutional, agricultural, recreational, and public utility land uses. The location of sand and gravel deposits. Restrictions of the use of land that's subject to hazardous conditions or that is environmentally sensitive. Approximate location and phasing of any major infrastructure projects should they be occurring. Present and proposed public facilities like schools or parks if they're of relevance. And the OCP must also include targets for the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions in the area covered by the plan. The Local Government Act expressly permits, but does not require, the inclusion of several other matters in an official community plan. So these are the maybes, optional official community plan content. And this includes policies related to social well-being and social development, policies respecting the maintenance and enhancement of farming on land designated for agricultural use, policies relating to the preservation, protection, restoration, and enhancement of the natural environment, development approval information areas, development permit areas, temporary use permits. And so as you can see, from the plan that we've developed, there's a lot of may be included items that we've incorporated into the draft Sentinel Mountain Official Community Plan. So this slide really speaks to what's new. What are the key changes or takeaways proposed in the new Sentinel Mountain Official Community Plan? Well, we've updated the mapping schedules. We've included new community connections, hazard lands, and aquifer protection development permit area maps. There's been a full redesign, modernization, and reorganization of the OCP, including a new OCP vision and community-specific themes. The inclusion of the Castle Garden Nelson Active Transportation Corridor vision. The inclusion of a temporary use permit section explaining that temporary commercial and industrial uses only can be considered within the boundaries of the plan area through a temporary use permit application. Targets for the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions and policies and actions of the local government proposed with respect to achieving those targets. New aquifer protection, riparian protection, and wildfire development permit areas, which will be incorporated in the relevant zoning bylaw for Area I through a zoning amendment bylaw, which forms part of this report package that is on the Rural Affairs Committee agenda tomorrow. The addition of a development approval information area to ensure that appropriate and sufficient professionally prepared information helps to guide decision-making on land use applications. And then, of course, removal of all applicable references to electoral area I from the existing Kootenai-Columbia Rivers Official Community Plan via OCP amendment bylaw to remove area J. So this slide really speaks to development permit area guidelines. And traditionally in the past, like in 1996, when the existing bylaw was developed, development permit areas were included in official community plans. And as we all know, quite some time has passed. And the best practice now is to really include development permit area guidelines in a zoning bylaw, that regulatory document, which you all are familiar with when you're considering land use applications as an EPHC. And the reason to include development permit area guidelines in the zoning bylaw is to help increase transparency, clarity, and help provide for better ease of administration. As we all know, the zoning bylaw is that regulatory bylaw, and really development permit areas themselves are regulatory in nature. So planning staff feel that members of the public, property owners, staff, developers, realtors, just as an example, will be able to reference the applicable zoning bylaw regulations and the development permit area guidelines, their exemptions and definitions in a same document versus having to go back and forth between the zoning bylaw and the official community plan. The RDCK zoning bylaws also receive more frequent reviews and updates, and this allows planning staff to be more responsive to evolving best practices in our profession, to be able to respond to any kind of changing conditions or new planning issues. And it also helps to improve the link between our zoning bylaw regulations, development permit area guidelines, and then that enforcement action piece. So as we all know, community input is essential in the official community planning process. So the next slide really pulls together a snapshot of the engagement to date. And you probably all will recall these posters from when we met in this space November of last year when we had our community open house for the official community plan. So how was this official community plan made? Really the overall goal of the engagement process was to facilitate meaningful community involvement, in addition to just meeting our statutory consultation requirements set out under the Local Government Act. We had 264 members of the public submit survey responses back in 2016. 211 people participated in the 6 community workshops held in 2017. In the fall, when we relaunched back in 2022, we had 3 new guest advisory planning and heritage commission members join to help provide better community representation and just additional local feedback during the OCP review project. And we all know that our APHC guests continue to support this project. We had 26 members of the public attend the virtual relaunched community open house back in January of 2023 at our kitchen table conversations held in Pass Creek, Glade, Shore Acres, Boykin subdivision, Brilliant, and Terry's and Drums. We had over 150 people come out to those different community kitchen table conversation sessions. And then, just as I mentioned, back in November of last year, we had approximately 80 to 100 people come out to this space where we're meeting here today to provide their feedback on draft policies proposed for the new OCP. And then, of course, we have the public hearing, which is still part of this planning process. A date is to be determined. So we're projecting outwards to early winter 2025. And more than likely would like to hold it at the Brilliant Cultural Center.
You say earlier, you're talking about the first quarter, or are you talking about this month?
I don't want to, it's on the agenda for the Rural Affairs Committee to consider tomorrow. And I think ideally, just to allow people to get back from holiday mode mid-January. Great question. A little bit about the referral process. The draft plan went out to external agencies and internal regional district departments over the summer, July through to end of August for comment. After that referral period closed, these comments were reviewed and then of course used to update the draft official community plan before the Rural Affairs Committee and the Regional Board considers first and second readings of the related amending bylaws, including the draft OCP. And then once that occurs, we'll be able to project outwards about scheduling a public hearing. And then before wrapping up, I just wanted to take some time to talk about next steps. So of course, the next steps will be the formal readings or consideration of the formal readings of the related amending bylaws, the scheduling of public hearing, and then of course staff would provide a public hearing summary report back to the Rural Affairs Committee meeting and Regional Board, and then speak to any amendments made to any of those bylaws being proposed before the board would consider third reading of the draft plan and related bylaws. Because as we all know, we could be making changes based on what we hear at tonight's APHC or at a future public hearing. So it's very much a working document. And then once adopted, staff would finalize any implementation measures, including any future amendments to the planning procedures and fees bylaw, just as an example. And then we would undertake a project debrief with our team members, yourselves included, and really just circulate out a broad thank you to everybody who participated. So
We're gonna have Porsche here and Porsche downstairs for anybody in the community that wants to come out, and I'll fund that, the grant. And we will have, what else? Porsche and what else?
Well, definitely we'll have bread.
Porsche and bread.
And
And
cheese,
you know what? And
pickles,
pickles
and goodies.
and goodies
Cookies, yeah.
and desserts.
Yeah, yeah.
And that will be the
Hey,
whole community coming. And we'll set it up.
they will too when they hear about the board.
Oh, yes, they will. You know how expensive Porsche is. 13, 15 bucks a Porsche. Oh.
So that really just is where we're at in terms of the project in a nutshell. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got a question?
Sure do.
Go ahead.
So basically, I'd like to do kind of a summary as to why we took a little bit extra time. What happened was that this was all scheduled. Everything was scheduled at our last month's board meeting to go to to address, motions were on the agenda to take this public hearing and to move forward. What happened is that you received some, asking some questions. And so I kind of asked for time. I messed up because I made some comments in open meeting that, that staff, that I shouldn't have made, full stop. And I've apologized for those. And the key thing is that, my intent was just to buy some additional time to address, the concerns that were raised. And it also gave us an opportunity, gave me an opportunity to talk with staff additionally. And Stephanie, you can confirm the amendment made on the, on the, the corridor.
Yeah,
Transportation.
that's
corridor.
right, the active transportation corridor, we amended the wording, not quote unquote, but reflected, financial and fiscal responsibility.
Because the plan was $100-something million. And so, yeah, it's like mega dollars. So basically I asked staff, I says, could you please add that? Because we want to be fiscally responsible. We want to do things that are practicable. So that amendment was made to the OCP. In addition to that, we received communications from Glade with respect to the existence of the Glade Irrigation District, but also the Glade Improvement District in Glade Central. And staff researched that. So Steph, what was the final research result from that?
I believe, there was an oversight in the wording under the specific community policies. So in this case, it was referring to Glade. We had an incorrect wording, which read Glade Improvement District. It is in fact Glade Irrigation District. So that has been amended.
Yeah, but there was actually an assertion that there actually was a Glade Improvement District in Glade Central. And so I don't think we researched that. I think staff researched it extensively, could not find the existence of a Glade Improvement District in Glade Central. This wasn't in Glade across the river, it was in Glade Central by the ESO there, by the Koozies. And so we aired, I thought, you know, we've been working at this 9 years, an extra month is not gonna make a big difference. I messed up in how I did it. And you know, I've apologized for that. But my intention was to just give us a little extra time to come back to the APHC, to give an opportunity for the community to attend the APHC meeting. We have a couple of people on, or one person on, two people, that's awesome. Because I want them to hear what my intent was and what I did. And basically that's why we're here today. And hopefully we will be moving forward tomorrow at Rural Affairs and Thursday at the board meeting. So that's why we're here.
You'll let us know how it goes.
Pardon?
Let us know how it goes.
Oh, I'll let you know. So any questions? So Steph, basically those are the only two amendments to the version that the APHC members, committee members and advisory reps saw. Was there anything else changed from that last iteration?
From the one that went to the November Rural Affairs Committee
Yes.
meeting?
Because I already
Yeah.
saw online that there were questions about that, seeing the versions of that one was this one.
Yeah, the only changes I have made to the draft official community plan were the ones that you raised, and those are them. Yes.
You're not aware of any other changes that anyone would have made.
Not to the draft official community plan, no. Yeah, absolutely not. Right now, with Dana's departure on parental leave, any changes that happen to the document, it's just, usually they would go through me, or if someone was making change, I would be informed, and I can tell you, yeah, no other changes. have been-
So thank you. I just want that on the record, that basically what we have, what was sent in our package today only has those two changes that you're aware of. There's no other change. And it's identical to the document we saw previously that was ready to go to the board for approval for public hearing at the October board meeting. And that's my understanding, to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah, we did have, back in the summer, I mentioned in the presentation, the draft plan went out on referral. And Dana, as you know, who was working on the official community plan project at that stage, had sent, the Advisory Planning and Heritage Commission, a copy of that, a copy of the draft OCP at that stage. And of course, to be expected, very much part of the official community plan review planning process is to incorporate feedback when you get it. And so that's what happened when the referral period closed at the end of the summer, August 31st. We incorporated the relevant feedback we received from a whole range of provincial ministries, any other internal feedback we had. Of course, we sent it through for legal review as well. So there were, at that stage, kind of early fall, let's say September, lots of minor changes and wordsmithing to the document. The real spirit and intent of the document itself, I don't believe changed. But, you know, changing words from encourage, support, promote, of really recognizing what the document itself can and cannot do, and recognizing our role as a local government. And in some cases, say in the earlier draft, we might have been overreaching and quite strong in our wording in areas where we don't actually have that level of control. So changing some of those words at the front end to those policies.
And the public hearing process, basically, this is a living document. It is not set in stone. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to err on the side of providing a grant to the RDCK to do a mailer to every, well, we can't do a mailer.
No, they'll eventually go back.
No, but if, like, what I was willing to do is I wanted to do a mailer to every single mailbox. And that's not junk mail. That is actually will go to every mailbox. I think it costs us something like $1,800 to do that. I want to err on the side of transparency, openness, to let every single household in Area I know about the public hearing here once the date is determined. And I will provide a grant to the RDCK to pay for that community development grant. If it's $2,000, let it be $2,000, because I don't want it to be said that we did not notify, and we will still do all the regular ads in the newspapers. But what we found when we did our climate action work, what was interesting is most people came because of the mailing. And we're finding that because social media is not cutting it when it comes to that. The mailer is super effective. It goes to every household. So I want to err on the side of caution, and there'll be no cost to the RDCK. Our ratepayers are paying for that out of our grant funds. So Area I ratepayers are the ones that provide us with the grant funds, and we will utilize those funds to generate the mail. It shouldn't be hard to do, because we have all the record of everything. We just did a mailer before, so it shouldn't be a huge workload for staff. I hope it isn't, right? But that's what I will be doing, and I will be sharing that tomorrow at RAC. I got an issue with the board meeting because we're in bargaining right now, with the school district, I'm the president of the teachers union. And I have a full day of bargaining and a board meeting scheduled, so I may be sending my alternate to the board meeting. I will brief you on what to do, so are you available on Thursday? Thursday, it's all day.
My wife's gonna go to prayer.
So I may not have anybody at the board meeting, but I wanted to check with Andy. Now, I may be able to participate in most of the board meeting, because when we're caucusing, like half the day is spent caucusing. And I'm there as a resource person. I'm not on the negotiating team because I'm building capacity, with a new team. So I may be able to participate in most of the board meeting, virtually. But I also will be away, so it'll be kind of, I'll be going in and out. So now I realize that I need to participate, so I will participate as much as possible in the board meeting. But I'm also in bargaining right now, and we set these dates, took us 4 months to set the dates for bargaining. We only do this every 3 years or so, and I knew there'd be a conflict, but whatever, that's not an issue here. At the public hearing, the public will have an opportunity in this facility. We can fit 300 people come, awesome. We will deal with everyone, we'll answer all the questions, staff will be prepared, I will be prepared, but I will be chairing that meeting. And when there's a public hearing, at that point, I take off my area I director hat. When I chair a public hearing, I'm a representative of the board. I'm actually the board representative. I cannot comment on anything at the public hearing. I cannot inject my opinion on anything at the public hearing. I have to be very careful about being fair to all the participants. I keep order. I will not answer any questions at the public hearing. Staff can answer questions, but I cannot. And basically, I am the board representative at that public hearing. And after the public hearing, I will not be answering questions to anybody on the OCP. So basically, but submissions can be made at the public hearing. They can be made verbally. They can be made in writing. There will be a period after the public hearing, stuff how long for public to submit.
The comments should be received, say, for example, if a public hearing is held at 7 p.m. in the afternoon to allow regional district staff
30, well,
at 6:30, to allow staff to get here from the Nelson office. We generally ask for any public hearing comments the day of to be submitted, by 4 p.m. Just it allows us time to print it off, to digest it, to have it be made available to other people who are coming to the public hearing who may want to see that. And then sometimes if people include in their submission that they want it read aloud, we will read out.
every word uttered at the public hearing is transcribed. It's recorded and transcribed and is presented to the whole board when we're voting on the all verbal is recorded.
I just wanted to be clear, because I think it's the point you're making, Andy, is we have that cutoff. So say 4 p.m., the 6:30 public hearing would be happening. And then after adjournment of the public hearing, no new information is to be received by Director Davidoff. And if any new information was received, say for example, by staff, it could warrant another public hearing. So there has to be an endpoint for receipt of all the comments. And then just as Andy mentioned, they're brought forward to the regional board. Planning staff will put together a public hearing summary staff report. One of the attachments will be the minutes of the public hearing. So the board can entertain all the comments received at the public hearing as part of their decision moving forward. And that's no different for an official community plan bylaw or a zoning amendment bylaw by a private property owner. It's the same procedure.
And so that's why, I want to, so I'm sorry for springing this on you, because I was just thinking about it driving here. It says, how do I ensure that no area I resident can say, I didn't know about the public hearing? The only way I can ensure that is by the mailer. So that may cause a delay with the postal strike. But the key thing is that could you, is it possible, like, it's asking for work, but if I raise that tomorrow, who would be in charge of the mailing? Is it planning staff or is it someone else?
It would be accommodated through planning administrative staff.
Okay, would it be possible to have, like, if I ask the question, like, how much time does staff need to prepare that? How much lead time do we need? Because that would impact the date of the public hearing.
I think what we would need to know, and I don't have the answer for you off the top of my head, but I think we would need to look at other project capacity, and then how many separate addresses we're mailing out to. Would be
There's 1,110 households, something like that.
separate mailing address.
Separate-
We would just need to,
Separate mailing.
yeah.
There's so much, you're looking at it, it's a whole lot of physical work, printing, and contingent on the resolution to the postal check.
Yes. So that is my intent. If it's not practicable because of the postal strike, then it's not gonna happen. But the key thing is that that's my intent. If it's practicable, the financial I'll cover. If it's impossible to do and not practicable, then that's something I need to have an answer to. But I think the way we started this in 2016, we sent out a mailer to everybody. And the way I'd like to end this is by sending a mailer. Because we started that way, and to conclude the process, I just am really hoping that that would work.
Can you present to RAC that we would have a public meeting 30 days after the successful conclusion of postal negotiations? Can we do it like that?
Okay.
Because that would eliminate one of your major variables.
I could do that. Step, would that work?
I'm not assuming that,
Yeah.
I don't know if 30 days
Might not
might
be
be too much or
I
too little.
guess it is, it's a classic unknown, because at this stage, we don't know, when the postal strike will be over, then given the busier time of year with sending parcels and mail, and then how the backlog may be cleared, I guess.
Could be forever.
What's the latest you can know on that?
We can go well, next summer if we want.
Yeah.
I would-
Another 6 months.
No,
No, I'm just thinking,
Hypothetically,
Yeah.
there's no, I'm sorry I literally thought of this as I was driving here. And I said, how did we start this whole process? We started by going, we did a mailer, we mailed out the survey to everybody. We did all that by mail. And I know that the mailer goes to every household. So I don't want any area constituent saying that I didn't know about the public hearing. And it's worth spending $2,000 to do for me. Hey,
Sorry, I was gonna say, I think it's fine for you to mention that at tomorrow's committee meeting. And mention some wording around when the Canada Post strike resolves, and if you are sending out a mailer 12 of public hearing in area I, well, then they'll get that when Canada Post situation is resolved. So I don't think we need to put a time component
No.
on that, because we just don't have that crystal ball.
No, so the key thing is I'm gonna ask a question respectfully of staff, like, is this feasible? And I'd like staff to sort of say to me, like, if you want a public hearing in the next 30 days, it's probably not feasible. If you want a public hearing in 60 days, then, but we still don't know about the postal strike.
I think it would, if I'm answering that question, more than likely I will be tomorrow at the committee
I'm
meeting.
giving you a heads
I
up,
wouldn't be able to give you a time frame at this point.
yes.
So I can answer that right now. Can staff do put together a mailer for all of area I? Yes. As to when we can do it, I don't have an answer at this time, but if we're happy to wait for resolution of the Canada Post strike, then we can wait for that. If you want staff to look at other local mail delivery services, we could look at that. I was just thinking of alternate options.
We're not going to do anything different. We're not going to be, like, I'm a union president. I'm not gonna do anything
No,
that is alternate.
no, it's a good
Not gonna
idea.
happen.
Yeah.
That, like, on principle, I can't do that.
And those outside mailing, they're not getting mail anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
But if they take it to the mailboxes, nobody,
no,
nobody's not gonna.
Nobody's gonna go to
There's
them
no
anyway.
mail, so it's-
There's no man, nobody's checking. So I'm sorry for throwing that curveball out, but I think it's one way of ensuring that everybody gets it. And I don't want to hear that I didn't know about the public hearing. I just don't want to hear that. Okay, is there anything else?
No, but maybe if the strikes end in a month's time. Or so, is it feasible to make it in a month's time after?
I think the magic word here is what is practicable.
Yeah.
And the key thing is that I'm going to take staff's advice on what is practicable and what is not, but I'm going to make sure today it's on the public record that this is what I'm requesting or thinking about, and tomorrow at RAC, it will be in the public record again. And I will say, staff will advise me if it's not practicable, then I will accept staff's advice, full stop. Is that fair? Steph, is that fair?
It'll take 2 or 3 weeks to get rolling.
Well, we'll see, yeah, let's talk.
I mean, what is or isn't practical could
Practicable.
mean something different for, you know, so I think, can we do it? Yes.
I hear you. Yes, and you get where I'm coming. We faced incredible pressure from during this process. I don't want to add additional pressure to staff because I know your workload.
I will say this in a different way.
Okay.
It's not a requirement. So anytime under the Local Government Act, if you have an amending bylaw that impacts more than 10 properties, you don't have to circulate by mail to adjacent properties. Can local government go above and beyond with notification, beyond the statutory requirements? Absolutely. So that's ideal as well.
So, and I'm sorry for, I should have thought of this before. I guess in my, I guess I should eat less because I think things do better. But you know where I'm coming from, right? Okay, so basically, where are we on the agenda then?
Well, are we finished with number 5?
No, we have to make a recommendation.
Oh,
So, is this correct, Steph? So basically, moved and second and resolved. I would like the APHC to make a recommendation that we proceed to, to,
The Advisory Planning and Heritage Commission could recommend that the draft official community plan and related amending bylaws move forward for consideration of first and second readings and scheduling of a public hearing.
Sounds good.
so who's moving it?
I'll do that.
The second, okay, you guys vote on it?
Yep. Yeah, all in favor?
So does that, does anything more need to be included in the, notification process?
No.
Okay,
Okay, so that is addressed item 5, correct? Definitely good.
That's all of 5?
That's all of 5. So we're now in
Into the director's report?
director's update. I have a lot to update.
Yeah.
And I laid them all out here. So these, and I would like these on the record in the minutes. So first of all, I'd like to do an update on the changes to Community Works grant funding, which the board will be addressing. The way we have utilized Community Works funds to assist falls, to assist third parties are gone. That's in a public report that's attached to the board agenda. I wasn't the first director to get hit with this. There was another director that got hit with this. I will not speak to what happened to that director. But I had a $30,000 community works grant to the Casper Snowmobile Club that was denied. And we went through a lot of hoops to get it done. A lot of it. And I promised that at the Ready grant meeting that we had last January. And I worked with the Casper Snowmobile Club to make that happen because they are providing recreation. And I said to them, we're not going to provide any Ready grants because we only have $38,000, but I would consider a Community Works grant. They went through massive amounts of hoops, including providing partnership agreements with the government and just all kinds of stuff. We got a report back from UBCM. Application denied. I then had to scramble and commit. I said, I will find you the money. I'm not going to welch on my promise. If I have to commit $30,000 of my minuscule Area I community development grants, I will provide that. I then contacted Director Hennegraff and Director Popoff because the norms are within Area J and Area H.
Everybody's knows.
The parking lot is what I was funding. The expansion is in Area I. So Director Hennegraff graciously agreed to commit $12,500 of community development grant funds. Director Popoff does not provide more than $5,000 of community development funds for these types of applications, but he graciously committed to $5,000. And then I've committed $12,500 of community development grant funds out of my $45,000 that I have to spend.
little over a quarter.
Yep. And what has happened is that will be approved. That comes up, those grant applications have been completed and they will be considered by the board on Thursday. We are in a totally different grant environment now. The Community Works grant process is radically different. I made commitments to halls for the CBT. Here. Water on this thing. These are really major things that I'm talking about here, because now our hands are completely tied with how we use our community work grants. So this is an example of the recreation sites and trails agreement that I have to get with the Casper Snowmobile Club to support the community works application. And basically, sorry guys. What I know this from memory. Look. So here it is here. Community development grants. Are all here. And I've confirmed with our grants coordinator exactly what we're doing. And basically, I have area I, we have 50,072.97. So I misspoke, it's not 40. And basically 12,500 of that 1/4 is going for one application. What has happened is that I've also committed community works grants for the Columbia Basin Trust nonprofit SMART grant program, where each hall has to come up with 25% of alternative funding. And so, for example, I committed $75,000 to the Shore Acres Hall. I don't know what's going to happen with that. So this whole program is funding, where they pay 3/4, we pay 1/4, could all be dead. This impacts Wade Hall, Harry's Hall, Shore Acres Hall. I have no alternative grant sources to pay that 25%. Area I or Area J has $287,000 of community development funds. Area H is 203,000. And Area I only receives 22,000 a year. Because
Why the disparity?
because we're not an affected area by the dams. And I went to CBT and I said, how are we not an affected area? The Brilliant Head Pond has 4 dams. At the headwaters of the Brilliant Head Pond, Brilliant Dam, Brilliant Expansion, and at the other end, 2 dams, the canal project and the.
Well, that could be argued that it's in Ramona's area, isn't
It's not that.
it? It's in the head pond, yes.
So the Buchanan side is here, but it impacts the whole of the Arrow Lakes. So what they receive, Area K, has $332,000 in that community development.
Well,
Just let me finish. Caswell has 126,000. You get it. Area C. So bottom line is that with the 22,000 that we have, we will not be able to fund any community hall upgrades. We will not be able to provide any money for recreation, for trails, for anything. That changes, it's a paradigm shift, the way we support our communities. Now, on a positive note, what has happened is that the community works funds, okay, same pot of money that have changed so that fire hose infrastructure, I can access the community works funds for that. They've also changed the rules so that fire apparatus can be purchased. So I'm working right now with Chief Patterson and with the regional chief. We have a meeting on December 30th, but I've already told them that if we need a wildland vehicle, 4-wheel drive, that at a cost of $90,000. I will fund 100% of that through Community Works funds for the Terrace Fire Hall. There's a possibility of getting a CBT grant to pay for part of it. I've not received any asks from Taos Creek Fire Department yet for what I could fund with Community Works funds.
And I guess those trucks up there are good for another, the tent is good for another 30 years.
Right.
The engine would be. So they have to relook at that.
Well, we are going to, believe you me, this is like a body blow to the rural directors. A body blow. It impacts our ability to govern, it impacts our ability to support, and the report says that we have no choice but to adopt what UBCM is saying, because if we don't, they'll claw back the money.
I still don't understand, Andy, why area H and area I don't have similar funding.
Because area H is affected area because of the two dams.
Area H is Walter's area.
It's Slocan Pool. It's not an area I. And I went to CBT and I begged. Remember how they didn't recognize the Brilliant Head Pond as a Columbia, as part of the Columbia River Treaty process?
Yeah,
And we did that report in 2010 from the EPC. I got them to agree that the Brilliant Head Pond is a reservoir, and that is in their inventory of the reservoirs. But I went to CBT, made a submission to the board, and I said, why aren't we given affected area funding? That applies both for the ready grants, because in the ready grants, the affected areas, we get 38,000, they get 100,000, 150,000. We don't get any. How are we not an affected area? Well, the Brilliant Dam was not part of the treaty process. The Brilliant Expansion Project was not part of the treaty process. The Hugh King side wasn't part of the treaty process, and this, the other, and I'm going. So the CBT board decided, it didn't even make the board. The CBT executive committee decided not even to take it to the board, to ask the board. But now, affected area funding is critical for us. So I'm going to be speaking to this, and I'm going to be writing a letter to the editor, if I have to say, we don't want to be an orphan any longer. We're affected, like you wouldn't believe. Look at our banks that are collapsing into the river. How are we not affected every day with the Shrakers tide? Every day, boom, 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 boom. So that's got to stop. And this director is going to be one very strong advocate for us to be treated the same as other affected areas.
Andy, area H has 2 kilometers of affected area.
So don't get me going.
Area I has 18.
Okay, stop. I don't want to be, 2,000 residents are impacted by the Brilliant Head. The variation. I fought for years to get us recognized that we're part of the system. Today, at the CSLAC meeting, I asked the questions. This is, why isn't the shoreline habitat inventory part of the CSLAC report? The Kootenay Lake Partnership, the Slocan Lake Partnership, the Yakanuki and what they're doing and everything. And it's not even on the district website anymore. I don't think it ever was. And 2 First Nations prepared that inventory, working collaboratively for the first time. And the response that was given was that the director paid for that. And I'm going, because the director paid for that, it's not in the district website. I said, that didn't cost ratepayers a penny. Didn't cost CSLAC budget a penny. We're no longer gonna be ignored. We don't want to be an orphan like we've been forever, for decades. That's gonna change. So this is, it's almost fighting words for me. This is so horrible. This business with the PRISM, with the Columbia Basin Trust nonprofit smart grant program. We worked so hard on this. And now I have to tell Sure Acres that 75,000 that I committed of community works funds is not gonna happen. I've got to tell Terry and Wade, it's not gonna happen because there's no longer will be third-party funding of any third-party organizations. Only those identified as regional districts priorities will be funded. That's my read of where we're at here. Let's just say I'm not happy with that at all. So it's another thing that's actually making me sick right now because it's changed everything for rural directors. That's that one. Next, reimagining recreation. We have spent, I want to thank on the record, and I've done it everywhere, the Castlegar District Recreation Commission for coming to our communities, all 5 community halls for the first time ever, to hear our voices on recreation. And they commission realized it's not Andy Davidoff that's blocking people, the recreation. Andy Davidoff is respecting the voice of his constituents. Andy Davidoff didn't say anything of these. Area I have no interest, virtually no interest in supporting the project in Castle. I have all the data. What's really interesting, even in Castlegar, the question was, would you spend up to $250 a year to pay for a second arena? That interest is not very high in Castlegar. Area J is not, but not in the city of Castlegar. And so basically, I said to the commission, and I said it, I'll say it on the record, that when we get our act together and Area H, Area H, Area I, City of Castlegar, Area J, south half of Area E, south part of Area F, City of Nelson, Civic Arena's gone. I've got clippings here. Castlegar area rec priorities, ice sheet, indoor walking track. Nelson's currently likely to be demolished. The arena is gone.
You mean Castle?
In Nelson,
The old one.
the Civic.
Yeah.
Are they gonna spend 50 million renovating that?
It's all burned.
When we get our act together and Area H, 5,000 residents. Area I, 2,600 residents. The city of Castlegar, you get in the picture?
Yep.
When we all come together. We have 8 acres of Campbell Field that the regional district owns. It'll cost us $100 a year to build an arena, a field house, anything we need.
That's just because you're amortizing over a larger population.
Spreading the cost over you like a monstrous assessment base instead of just our subregion. So, and again, that's if the people want it. But it's now 20,000 vehicles. 20,000 vehicles a day go through the Playmore Junction. 20,000 vehicles a day. So where's the logical place to do
Yeah.
anything? And then even then, Area I residents may say they don't want to be part of it. And I respect Area I residents. So that's that on that, unless you have questions. Okay, next slide. I can't say a lot about this, but I'm working on a non-market housing project that I've been working on for years. I have meetings with the MLA. What's really beautiful is that MLA Morris, Mike Morissette, has been appointed the Parliamentary Secretary for Rural Development. Brittany Anderson has been appointed the Secretary. I don't understand this. It's not a cabinet post, but it's a Secretary of Rural Development in British Columbia. I'm meeting with the MLA Morissette. On a really massive non-market housing project that is not public yet, but we will have the full government involved in this, a piece of government, and stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say about that. Don't ask.
You don't want me to ask any questions?
Not on that.
Okay, off camera.
No, I'm not saying anything
Okay,
more
okay.
about this. But I just want to, on the record, that I've been working on this for 5 years.
Okay.
It's huge. It's hundreds
No,
and
no.
hundreds of non-market units. And using Kalesnikov's modular home construction,
Mass timber.
masking. So Chris knows all about this.
Well, you might as well be at the house for me.
Build apartments for Sandy.
Okay,
Build an apartment, I got a house.
speaking of Kalesnikov's, this is another item.
Just over
Guys,
the road.
please. I'm facing incredible pressure by the residents of Lock Road to address noise issues at Kalesnikov's. I have reached out to Kalesnikov's, I've asked for a tour of what's going on. This is never ending pressure on me. Nonstop,
As long as I've been involved in the UPC forever.
forever. So I've asked to meet with Kalesnikov's. Spoke to the VP, Lee Sorensen. And I would be meeting with Kalesnikov's. I want to actually go to the site and see exactly what's happening. And apparently there's some easy fixes. Some of the things are impossible to change. I want that fix happen. So I'm committing to doing that. If I gotta give them a grant, I can't give them a grant. They're a private business.
Do the residents of Lock Road, have they identified the very things that are,
Right here,
okay,
I have 30 letters. And it's nonstop pressure on the RDCK right now. And I'm I'm in the middle of this sandwich. Ooh. Next item.
Well, roads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Lock Road.
It's just.
Next, self-service. So Shaw promised us $1 million per tower for 2 towers, one in Cristova, one in Pass Creek. We issued press releases on this.
Yeah.
Shaw used their tower commitment to us in their takeover, in Rogers' takeover bid of Shaw. They used that at the CRTC as an example of how they were committing to do all this work. And we took them at face value. Rogers took over, and all of a sudden the commitment wasn't $1 million. He said, hold on a second here, it's $1 million a tower. Rogers has been working on this. I am not a happy camper. I told them, I'm writing a letter to the editor, exposing the lack of action.
That's good, because people are asking.
All nonstop. And it's a safety issue for our firefighters.
Oh, big time.
It is when the Laurel Matthews, who's the staff sergeant of the Castlegar RCMP office detachment, is running from her house on Winter
I was
above
working
Winter
that fire.
Road when there's a car upside down in the creek and she's trying to contact 911.
She didn't know that night,
Exactly.
that there was no.
There's no cell service. And so the key thing is that that's one example, Brian, you know, a
That's
lot,
10 years ago.
10 years ago. Here's a communication that I sent to Rogers. I don't want to talk to them anymore. I said to them, I want all this in the minutes. This is. Sorry.
I'm writing my.
Please.
Thought you wrote in the memoir.
I said to. They said, oh, we'll get back to you and stuff. I sent him an email October 1st. I hope that you and your loved ones are well. Can you please provide us with an update, as it has been 6 months since our last communication from you? I'm receiving concerning inquiries from our community members, fire service, etc. And then they said, oh, we'll have a meeting. I said, don't want a meeting. I want a written report of all of your efforts that you have made, all the contacts you have made. I want to know, and I want that report ready for sent to Director Papa and myself and to our CAO and to Dan Elliott at the RECK. We would really appreciate and are hereby respectfully requesting a comprehensive written report of Rogers' efforts. I'll give you this. Of Rogers' efforts for us to review prior to setting any meeting date with us containing the following information. Rogers' efforts in finding a suitable landlord for tower infrastructure, Rogers' ongoing financial commitment to this project, optimal site locations for each of the 2 towers in Pasqueak and Cristobal Crescent Valley, alternative site location efforts options considered such as Crown Land for larger towers in the Castlegar South Slopant area. They can put a big tower in Castlegar and reach. Any other relevant information. We would be prepared to invite you as a delegation to a meeting to review the report in camera if the subject matter qualifies for this type of meeting under the Local Government Act, which we believe it does. When do you think you could have the aforesaid report ready for a review and a possible joint meeting? Please reply all. I'll give you a copy of that in the record, please.
That's good.
And that was what date?
October.
And has there been a,
I said to them in a
So
previous
6 weeks.
communication, is it time
2
for a
months.
press release? Or maybe I could write something to the media on this, because they're asking. If you can't find private land, what have you done about Crown Land acquisition?
There's a road in Pasqueak.
Rialto Road, it's got a lot of Crown Land on the outside.
Perfect.
has there been any communications with Rogers? Has he responded at all, or is it dead silence?
No, they said, we had a meeting set up, supposed to be meeting here right about now. They're preparing the written report. They're doing it, I says, don't want to have a meeting. Written report before the meeting.
Good, Andy.
Just, I want the APHC to know that, I want it on the record. Something happens to me, and I've had health issues, I want this all in the record. So that there's a record of this, so whoever takes over from me knows this is what we do. These are high priorities. Next,
Yeah, too far behind.
you're my alternate.
Okay,
It'd be your job. Do all this work.
we'll have an election.
Election.
Poor Ed.
Don't be going anywhere.
This guy might not last that long.
Now, that we did.
We're both
Ready?
older than that.
We did this. Guess what?
Good man.
Andy Pandy is done with updates. I am now prepared to answer any questions that the APHC has of me on anything else that you believe is important for us for me to give you an update on in the event something happens to me.
But the arena, it's good to hear that. But there are some people on board.
I do have a question, Andy, regarding the funding that Area I is currently providing for the Castlegar Nordic Ski Club up at the Paulson.
Yep.
Is this going to be affected by the Community Works grant changes? Or is that funded out of a different,
Nope, that's Community Works grant funding.
okay, is that gonna change?
I don't know what's gonna happen. We'll find out at the board meeting on Thursday.
Okay,
I don't know. Put it this way. There have been 3 directors that were the first impacted. The Castlegar Snowmobile Club application was the
that's
first one impacted in Area I. There are 2 other directors that have lost have had their applications denied, but I'm not gonna speak to who they are and what the applications were. That's for them to speak to it. But every Community Works application and commitment, right now, we don't know the status of it, but from the report that was prepared, the odds of it being approved at UBCM are 0.
okay, that's the snowmobile club. I'm talking about the Nordic.
Yeah, I
Club.
know, I don't know.
Okay. you
I
got
haven't,
that. And then the other thing is, and I will talk to you later about the distribution of responsibility.
Yeah.
Later.
so any other questions of you that are burning questions, pressing questions, updates on anything? Andy?
Grants for the Glade Community Hall. Do the Glade Community Hall has to provide a portion of the grant?
25%
25%.
of that CBT program. Where are you gonna get the money?
Yeah, but Glade has to put 25% down. And you pay the 75, right?
CBT's paying the 75. I was providing a community words grant for the set 25. That's it.
So now that the Community Works grant has failed, you're gonna be providing it.
How are you gonna provide?
Andy, he's got lots of
And-
money in his chicken coop.
In the chicken.
Go see Harry.
So this is a paradigm shift.
Well,
This destroy, if this is where it's going. So recreation is impacted. Non-RDCK recreation could be impacted, like Nordic, like Snowmobile Club. I don't know what's gonna happen with Parks and Trails. I mean, if Ramona Foster and I provided 50,000 for the Trans-Canada Trail. That's a third party. It's got nothing to do with RDCK. RDCK doesn't own those trails. Right now, we had the Friends of Parks and Trails come to as a delegation to a rec commission meeting last week. And they were asking for an increase in grant funding for the work they do. They want 60, I think it's 60,000 now instead of 40.
Is that the downhill?
No, this is the Friends of Parks and Trails
Both friends and
Parks and Trails.
Okay.
Society.
Yeah.
And so they do incredible work. So now there's gonna be more pressure on rec commission, service funding. Because before, like, I would say, hey, I'll kick in $10,000 in community works funds to help you guys out. It's changed everything. All our budgeting is impacted by this change.
so that means the government is downloading
No,
This
they're
way.
not.
the community.
They're not. Apparently BC was an anomaly in the country where we were allowed to do this. And RDCK is an anomaly within BC by what they allow rural directors to commit to. And the UBCM has been kind of hinting all along that this has got to stop. And now they made a decision.
Okay.
Full stop. Except we got, like, I asked for it, and I'll be asking questions at the board meeting. I says, do we have a transition period? Our current commitments, like Director Popov has committed hundreds of thousands of dollars for fiber for last mile. That's third party. $1 million we committed over 3 years. Is that still gonna be honored? Every director now is gonna be fighting for each penny of community works commitment that they've made. And then, and how's this gonna work? And guess what? RDCK has no jurisdiction over this. It's all UBCM. And if RDCK says, or if the UBCM says no, we'll honor this year, but the other 2 years of funding, not happening. I don't know what they're gonna say. And if RDCK board says otherwise, UBCM could claw the money back. And they're not gonna, RDCK will not expose themselves to that. The board will not expose themselves, and we're not gonna go, give a grant to the 25%, well, 75,000 to the Sure Acres Hall for the upgrades, and they haven't had any upgrades. Sure Acres Hall hasn't received 1 penny of community works funds for anything. And this is the first time I made a commitment of 75 for the energy upgrades and all necessary infrastructure work for the envelope, and it's all energy related. Prism Engineering approved what has happened, what needs to happen. And the key thing, and Prism works for CBT, and now what's ending up happening is that I don't even know right now, like, what do I say to Sure Acres Hall people? Sorry, I don't know. So Thursday's board meeting, like, I think it's gonna be long. Because we're gonna be asking a lot of questions, and we have not had a workshop or a heads up on this. I think we need to have a workshop on how to deal with this stuff. So I'll be recommending a workshop of the board meeting. Anything else?
Well, just under item 5.2.2, APHC dinner schedule.
Oh, so, very good. So, we had a tradition of having an APC dinner every year around Christmas. I'm committed to doing that. I'm committed to inviting the staff that has worked with us on our work with the APHC and particularly work on the OCP. It won't be us and partners. It'll be just us. I will host that. I have gifts for everybody. I've prepared things for everybody. As you guys know, I do, and I've always done. And basically, we will be inviting everybody. If this qualifies for APHC funding, we have funds in our APHC budget.
Should have.
That's fine, then I'll be reimbursed for that. If not, I'll pay it out of my own pocket.
No, this
for
should
the
be
whole
awesome.
dinner. Okay, but all we need to do is find a date. And where we want to do this. So any ideas? Let's just do it.
You gotta, it's getting tight to Christmas, right? So-
Well, no, there's one place that we could access very easily, and that is the executive room at the Chances Casino.
Where?
Executive room. We have held many meetings there. No charge for the room. And we meet and it's private. We've even had a school district 20 retirement dinner there. We can fit all the people and it's private. So that's one option we have. It might be midweek, which is fine.
Midweek's fine.
Yeah.
We
So-
usually do
Well, how about for staff? Like,
Stephanie, is there anything, like, are you, can we do, like, a doodle poll or something on before, I'd like to do it before Christmas, during the Christmas hall. I don't care when it is, but
Before Christmas.
before Christmas, we're gonna do it.
Andy, really, what you're really saying is,
What's Christmas? 2 weeks
next
tomorrow.
week is really the only time available. Unless,
Yeah.
I can't see us moving in this week.
Anytime.
I'm-
I'm sorry for this lateness.
It's no
but-
big deal if we went after Christmas.
Yeah.
It's up to the APHC.
You got the week between Christmas and New Year's, things are quiet.
Just exactly. Tell me when you want it, it's gonna happen. Where you want it, it's gonna happen. So Brian, I leave that with you as chair of the APHC.
Between Christmas and New Year's.
Stephanie,
there's
and
time.
if you could speak about this to the staff, is there like a particular period of time? If we've got the venue kind of set. If the staff would have a particular spot in time, let's say, between Christmas and New Year's, or maybe in the first, week. Well, let's say between the sixth and the 10th of January, if there was a preference to the
Yeah.
majority of
Yeah,
your
holidays
meetings.
are-
Office is closed, end of day on December 24th through to returning to work on January
There you go.
2nd, so staff would be unavailable, generally speaking, including myself, from this week and next week until that first week of January. We're all kind of, in
Everybody's
our
busy,
vacation
man.
time,
Well, it's
yeah.
vacation, it's vacation.
Yeah.
It is
people
a
are-
bit challenging, because some of our planning staff are based in the Nelson area, so just trying to find.
Do you want to talk to them and get a hold?
Well, I don't
Yeah,
go into
really?
January.
So, but what I'm hearing though is
Well, yeah,
The
that's the thing,
sixth
it's going to be-
to the 10th is
Well,
probably the
hopefully
most
around there.
preferable of the days.
I think more than likely, yes, and then, what would be most preferable would be, say Monday through Thursday versus, weekend.
About January, first week of January.
That's what we're saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Let's say, so ideally between the 6th and the 9th.
I'm just trying to pull up.
Yeah. That's Monday to Thursday.
Monday to Thursday.
That's Yeah,
So I'm just, I will honor whatever the UPC comes up with staff. I will do this. This is not our culminating celebration event for OPC or OCP. This is an appreciation dinner for the work done to date. And it gives me an opportunity to present the things that I have to present to people for what they've done. We will hold a culminating event here at the Brigham Cultural Center
Okay, get a.
when the OCP is finally passed. And that will be a traditional Doukhobor meal downstairs. And it'll be RSVP. We need to know how many people are coming. And I will provide a grant to pay for that, a community development grant. Last time we did it for 150 people, I think it was $6,000. I think that is important. And we'll get our, and Lisa and Eileen and Marcia, they're the perfect people to make this happen. So that will be our culminating event, celebrating Sentinel Mountain.
We've got a little bit of work for the first week or second week of January.
We haven't got a date yet, right?
Yeah.
No, but Stephanie will check with staff.
Yeah, they get
And
back
we
to
invite,
us.
Dana, anyone that's worked on the OCP.
So
Or
the Jansen's,
Sadie,
Yes, just.
Dana.
Jansen's okay, food truck.
But we want to just do it just the people, not partners, because it could be a few people. And we want to
Go find a
budget
partner.
for this property.
Or do you have one now?
And Brian, I know how much we have in our APC fund for this purpose. But the key thing is that if there's any, like, I pay for all drinks, because we can't pay for
No, no,
alcohol,
days
so
are
that
good.
comes from me.
Yeah, people don't drink a lot anymore. I think.
Yeah, that's true,
Not like
because
we
I
used to.
don't drink.
I don't know that RDCK staff, how they operate. They could be a wild bunch.
It used to be bad to us.
And I wanted a venue where I can give some fireball, okay, it can't be here.
Oh, God, I still got those two little bottles.
You can bring your own, and you
I
back
ended
pocket.
up
And by
with
the way,
three,
you're a
yeah.
member of the fireball club. Not a joke.
Back pocket.
Well, guess what? It doesn't matter. You know what people do that don't drink? They put it on their shelf.
Okay.
I'm a member of the fireball club.
Seen that.
Exactly, at the RDCK office.
All
And
right.
guess what? I gave
Yeah,
I bought
that's good. That's
48
pretty well done.
fireball bottles and I gave it
Just
to
get a hold of
the,
it.
Brian, you listening to this?
Yep.
48 bottles to the Terry's Fire Department, the mini bottles of Fireball, and to the people that don't drink, they got Merci.
Um,
But I got three of the little bottles at home. I got the one for the ABC, the one for the fire department, and now the extra one that I got.
It's like, I do this
I
for
don't
the
see a
school
good
districts
sense.
as well. School district has a no alcohol policy. You have no idea where these fireballs are sitting on the shelf.
Yeah.
Like, it's just.
So I guess, well, that dealt with, so we should have, is there any?
Okay, and the fireball, please not.
Any public?
Oh, it's already, it's in the meeting. Now, do we have any other business?
How about those guys over
No, that's fine. Do we have any other business? Okay, so is there anyone online? We have to hold public time.
Yep.
So we are gonna
That's
hold
where we're
public
gonna go
time
right
now.
now.
Hopefully the connection's
She
still
was the
live.
mouse. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so,
now it's gonna see my face. Let's get rid of that.
okay, so we're gonna call public time now, right, Brian?
Yep.
Okay, answer any questions?
Is there any public there?
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
2 people.
You folks there, can you hear us?
Yeah, just wait, Brian. It takes time sometimes.
I mean, they're there, but.
Okay, so,
Oh, I see a chat. Hold on one second.
check out.
No questions, thank you.
And that's that from both?
I'm opening it.
Cool.
Yeah. I tried. Nope, that's good.
No questions?
No
No.
questions. Okay,
Okay.
so let's record it that there were no questions from the public.
The next would be next meeting.
At the call of the chair.
I guess would be at the. Yes,
Well, that, the dinner is not a meeting.
no, we used to always have something.
We did. We actually had an APHC meeting.
always-
There we go. So our next APHC meeting. There we go. There's the
Yeah.
perfect thing.
Yeah.
Next APHC meeting is going to be at Chance's Casino and we're gonna have dinner and a meeting.
We did that all the time.
We did it all the time.
Okay.
Done deal.
Okay.
There you go. That's the way we did it.
Do you girls remember the G-Bar D? Oh,
TBA.
yeah. We used to go to the G-Bar D, and never heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was a place, Cowboy Bar.
No. Yeah.
They actually did line dancing.
Oh.
They sold tack. Okay,
Place was just.
right,
just
right.
rock,
We
rock.
got to adjourn the meeting.
Oh. Okay, what time is it?
We gotta let the people online go, cause I think they got a lot of information today, so that's good.
8:10, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it. Harry,
Yeah, do okay. Only 4 chocolates. I